Welcome to yet another edition of the Stats and Stacks podcast, where today we're going over UFC Vegas 77, Holm versus Silva. First things first, make sure you give this video a like, hit that subscribe button, give a follow over on Twitter, over on Instagram, over on TikTok, wherever there's social media. There is the Stats and Stacks podcast. Let's address the elephant in the room. We have another one-on-one week when it comes to locks. We hit one, we lost the other. Jalen Turner really let us down here. Split decision. Could have went either way, but I mean, Dan Hooker had a broken hand and a fractured face. We should have got the job done. The read was right. Just Jalen Turner just died on us, but at least we split. We split as always with the over unders. We had another dog hit, which was nice. But we had a glory play hit again. That's 2 out of 3 weeks. We had Denise Gomes by KO. I wanted to mess around and do round one. I didn't. I should have, but plus 800 was good enough. So we are hype about that. It was a successful night. I did lose a bunch of parlays for Robert Whitaker, but as soon as Gomes hit that KO prop, it was just smooth sailing and everything was just an add-on from that point. So all in all, an exciting card. We knew it was going to be Finish City, which it was. A very fun fights. Pantoja hit like a new champion. There's a lot of good stuff that happened the last card. But again, we're rocking the Buffalo Bills hat. We're rocking the Stats and Stacks t-shirt. We're trying to get back on the winning track with these locks. We need both locks to hit. I'm sick of this 1-and-1 shit. We are going to hit both locks. We are determined that as much research as physically possible, did more fight tape than usual, did everything we physically could. We need to hit big this weekend. You know why? Because this weekend's card is honestly, as kids would say, booty cheeks. It's god awful. It's a terrible card, but it's a free card, so no complaints here. And if we win money on this terrible card, it's going to be card of the fucking year. So, and the only way to enjoy this thing is to have money on it. And if you have money on it, you want to win some money, baby. So let's go ahead. Let's just jump right into this dumpster fire of a card here. And we always make jokes that some of these cards have like names for them if they still name their pay-per-views and their cards. This one is UFC Vegas 77 gas bag, baby, because there are a ton of gas bags on this card. So which ones are we gonna play? Which ones are we gonna fade? And which ones are gonna get us paid, baby? Let's start with the very first fight of the night. We have Ashley Evans Smith as a plus 160 dog, making her return, going up against Eileen Perez at minus 190. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 is minus 190. Under 2.5 at plus 155. Let's start with Eileen Perez, just because she's an absolute fraud. She is not good whatsoever, and she's a minus 190 favorite. It's very intriguing here. She's only 28 years old, so she could definitely be making some improvements. She's had a good camp at MMA Masters. I like both of those. She's pretty strong for the weight class, but she's a little bit of a size bully. She's someone that has fought at 145 in the past. She just kind of muscles everything. Like her wrestling's not that good, but she's bigger and badder, so she'll muscle you down to the ground. Her striking's not that good, but she's decently strong, so her shots are very impactful. She's just really just a can crusher, to be honest with you. The girls that she's fought were literally, one of them I think was a taxi driver and a soccer mom. Like she's not fighting very good competition. Fighting girls that are 0-1-2, 4-1 is probably her best fighter, honestly. 5-5, 0-0, 0-0, 0-1, 0-2. So she literally only, before coming to the UFC, she fought one girl with a winning record. Ironically enough, Adele is now also in the UFC, but she's also a fraud. I mean, they're fighting in the Samurai promotion, which you're going to have 2 fighters from that promotion this week. So be careful of that. It just looks like it's filmed in a high school cafeteria. Like it's very questionable. I don't know if it's actually a professional fight league. It's very suspect when you watch the fight tape. She fought one actual fighter in Stephanie Ager in the UFC and got absolutely demolished. Like Stephanie Ager went down there and killed her and finished her early. We did see her slow a little, so if there is going to be a gas bag in this fight, it's going to be Eileen Perez. So honestly, not a lot to like. But the main thing we do like is that she's 28 and she's fighting a 36-year-old returning Ashley Evans Smith. Ashley Evans Smith is 6-5, and she's also a fraud. She's not very good. She has not fought since 2020, so it has been 3 years since we've seen her. So have an inch and a half reach advantage, which is nice. But again, coming off a 3-year break when you were already like asked to begin with is not a good look. Just like Eileen Perez, her wins are kind of questionable. Beck Rawlings is absolutely terrible. Veronica Hardy is actually like a 115 pounder. So she was fighting up 2 weight classes. She's extremely hittable. She has wins against Marion Renault, who's not very, very good. And when she did fight anyone with any semblance of just talent, she got absolutely smashed. Andrea Lee killed her. Norma Dumont almost put her away. Sarah Morais isn't very good, but did put her away. Ketlin Vieira is pretty decent, but she absolutely dismantled her. And Raquel Pennington bulldog choked her, so that's just embarrassing. So yeah, anytime she fought someone that was actually good, she got absolutely torched. Anytime they gave her someone that was not in her weight class or no longer in the UFC because they're that bad, she got the W. So I don't know. I don't know what to do with this fight. You have a fraud going up against someone that's old, hasn't fought in a while, and has no quality wins. What I don't like is that Ashley Evans Smith has a 67% takedown defense, and she can slow down a little bit in her fights too. And her jiu-jitsu is a little questionable. She's getting armbarred, she's getting bulldog choked. So I think Eileen Perez is not very good. But this MMA Masters camp, they love to pressure forward. You look at Colby, you look at Nate Landwehr. All they love to do is pressure forward, get a takedown, and kind of control you. That's exactly how you beat Ashley Evans Smith. I do not like Eileen Perez. I think she is one of the worst fighters in the weight class, but I think she is huge. She's going to be able to bully Ashley Evans Smith, and that's how Ashley Evans Smith loses. So, styles make fights, baby. The pick is going to be Eileen Perez. The bet's going to be Eileen Perez, and it feels absolutely terrible. It's gross, but it is what it is. All right, next fight of the night. We have more frauds here. We have Carl Deaton the third as a plus 135 dog going up against Alex Munoz at minus 155. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 is minus 230. Under 2.5 is plus 185. This is definitely a pink slip fight. Which one is getting cut? Let's start with the dog and Carl Deaton. Things to like about Carl Deaton. Not a lot. I guess his striking's okay. His fucking face paint's cool, I guess. If you give off a warrior spirit, he's there to want to fight. But he also has some very questionable wins. Like his best win is probably against Guitar Hero Justin James. And he didn't look great in that win, to be honest with you. Justin James was piecing him up on the feet. He had to resort to grappling. That's a little concerning. Obviously, his grappling is pretty decent because Justin James is predominantly a wrestler. So it's good to see that he was able to kind of control the grappling aspect of it, but he's not going to have the grappling edge here. Yeah, he doesn't have any good wins. That's his best win. All the rest of these guys are 5-26, 9-4. This kid is 8-3, has been worse after, hasn't won. 7-9, 1-0, 4-8. Like he's fighting absolute cans on the regional scene. So it is what it is. His takedown defense, we saw it against Joe Selecki. It didn't look great. He showed a little bit of resistance, but Joe Selecki's not the greatest wrestler. And he did eventually get him down to the ground in both rounds 1 and 2. So if Deaton faces an actual credentialed wrestler, he might be in a little bit of problem. He might be in a little bit of a predicament. And that's what he has here in Munoz. Alex Munoz is a little older than I would like for him to be. He's only 6-2, but he's 33 years old. And you want to talk about wrestlers. He trains at like one of the wrestling camps, which is Team Alpha Male. He's coming off a 2-year break himself. The last time we saw him was a loss against Luis Pena. Not a good look. Luis Pena can't wrestle at all, so that's a little concerning. I don't know, man. Striking's not good. It's not good. It's actually bad. I try to say it's not terrible, but as I just think about the fights that I saw, especially like him against Hackpress, like it's not very technical whatsoever. He really doesn't have a ton of like chain grappling for someone that has wrestling credentials and a wrestling background. He mostly just gets blast doubles, like a lot. Like I don't think I saw him get any other takedown. I didn't see any body lock takedowns. I didn't see any throws. I didn't see any trips. He hits you with the blast double. That's about all he has, but he's very, very good at it. And yeah, he can't really strike, but he's gonna have a 5-inch reach advantage here, which is nice. He has all the physical tools. Does he really need this fight? No, I think he's like dating a supermodel or something crazy like that. Or a movie star. I don't know. He's dating someone rich and famous. Someone way out of his league. I don't know. His cardio seemed to check out, which was nice. That's about all he has going for him. A decent cardio and a good wrestler, nothing else. Haven't seen him in 2 years. Can't trust this guy with your money. The fact that he's a favorite is absolutely absurd until you watch Carl Eaton's fight tape and then you go, oh my God, why are either of these guys in the UFC? What I really hope happens is that Alex Munoz wins, they cut Deaton, and then Munoz just retires himself. That would be ideal. But in order for that to happen, he has to get the win first. And I'll go ahead and if it's wrestler versus striker, I'll take the wrestler in this very, very low level competition. So the pick is going to be Alex Munoz. The bet's going to be Alex Munoz. I might take a little sniff at that over at minus 230 just to feel a little more comfortable, but I don't know. That's too much on this fight. You don't want too much exposure on this. Just take Alex Munoz, bet is Alex Munoz, but I'd stay away if you could. This is just trash. A lot of dumpster diving here. Speaking of which, next fight of the night, we have one that's interesting. Finally, not dumpster diving per se, but we're not really sure what we have in this matchup. We have old man Tyson Nam at plus 320 going up against a newcomer as at Maxim at minus 425. Over 2.5 is plus 310. Under 2.5 at minus 410. Yeah, they expect to finish, and mostly because of Azat, man. This guy, if you recognize this flag, I'm pretty sure that's the same one that Shavkat Rakhmonov has. And he also has a shiny 16-0 record, undefeated kid. 28 years old, so just entering his prime. He's good, man. He's very, very good. He has really good wrestling. He has really, really good jujitsu. His striking's not terrible. I watched a few fights and went, "Oh my God, it's bad." But when I went back and I've been watching tape like crazy. I did see him stand up a little bit in one of his fights, and he has fast hands. They're not very technical. He's a little hittable, but he's fast. He knows what he's doing. He's just not very good at it. But he knows that's not his bread and butter. He only played with it for a little bit, and then he went right to the ground. It's kind of like watching like a Bo Nickel. Like he can strike, but he knows he doesn't really want to. So yeah, he's really just a wrestler grappler. Really, really good wrestling. Making his debut again can be countered, which is very, very concerning. Going up against Tyson Nam because Tyson Nam is a power puncher. He's literally flyweight Francis Ngannou. I don't think there is anyone in the flyweight division that hits harder than Tyson Nam. He has pretty decent striking and he has extreme power. And he has 100% takedown defense. Now, has he fought great wrestlers? No, Ode Osborne can't really wrestle. Bruno Silva, he fights at fight ready. He can wrestle a little bit, but uh, he's not the greatest wrestler. He's okay, decent. Matt Schnell, he can wrestle a little bit, but he's not the greatest wrestler. Kai Kara France doesn't wrestle. Sergio Pettis doesn't wrestle. So he's not really fighting wrestlers, but anyone that tried to take him down could not. 100%, man. That's a good stat to have. So you think, oh man, as that's very good. His only problem is that his stand up is sketchy and he can get countered. Is Nam a live dog? Initially, I was going to say yes until I saw a few things. One, I saw that he is very low volume. He does not throw a ton. He counters and he only counters. He never goes first. He does not go first. So if Azat doesn't really try to strike too much or throw too many combos. If he does a one and done and then just shoots the takedown, it could be pretty easy there. On the flip side, Nam himself is kind of hittable. Like I said, Maxim has some pretty fast hands. Just because he is subject to get countered doesn't mean he might not put Nam out first. Nam is 39 years old, coming off of a knockout. So yeah, this young 16-0 killer could take him down and submit him easily, or he could also just knock him out on the feet, to be quite frank with you. He only got knocked out back in March. So what are we in? July, March, April, May, June, July. It's only been 4 months, and he was knocked out pretty hold. And then he got, well, it shows rear naked choke, but he was out on his feet, and then he just kind of got his back taken and got put out. So it'll be interesting. I don't know, man. His jiu-jitsu is kind of questionable from what I saw when he did get down to the ground. Um, and he's been KO'd before. It's not like this is the only time. He's been KO'd earlier in his career here with a head kick and punches by Marlon Moraes. Marlon hits like a truck, so he also got back in 2008. So it's not often. Back in 2006. So he's been knocked out 4 times. So it can happen. He's pretty durable. He's had a long career, but he's 39 and that chin is starting to go. Long story short, Nam does like the pressure, which is going to be nice for him, considering it's a lot harder for a wrestler to shoot when they're going backwards. You're going to hear DC say that over and over and over again if he's on the I don't know who the announcers are actually. But you've heard DC say that before, which is true. I mean, as someone who wrestled in life, it's harder to shoot when you're going backwards. But you're just hoping for a knockout. It's really just a puncher's chance. Can it happen against a debuting kid? Can the nerves get there? Yeah. Am I still looking at Nam? Yeah. Do I think Maxim is risky? Yeah, actually. I think he should win this fight. I think he should make it look very easy. But if Nam caught him, it would not surprise me by any means. So don't just go and parlay the minus 425 debuting undefeated fighter. Like, let's wait and see. I'm staying the hell away from this fight. I think it's a trap, but I'm gonna go ahead and pick Maxim. He has more ways to win. If I wasn't a bet, I would bet Maxim as well, but I'm just scared of it. I don't feel good enough to do it. Nam could catch him. So the pick is Maxim, the bet is Maxim, only in parlays. And I just wouldn't do it, to be honest with you. All right. Next fight of the night is someone that I will have parlayed a lot. We have Evan Elder as a minus 300 favorite going up against Geranio Valdez at plus 250. Over under set at 1.5. Over 1.5 is minus 155. Under 1.5 at plus 125. Let's go ahead and start with Valdez out of the L Train camp, or not L Train, Entrom camp over where Brandon Moreno used to train. I was excited for this kid. I actually thought he was pretty good, to be quite honest with you. He has pretty decent striking. He hits decently hard. But then I went back and I saw some of the fights, and he's a little overrated, to be honest with you. He's a finisher. I mean, when you look at his record, most of these wins are by finish, knockout, rear naked choke, knockout, knockout. Actually, all of his wins are by finish. But they're usually kind of early. We have one round 3-1 here, which is nice. The Patrick White one was a few seconds into round 2, and Patrick White was not even like a real fighter. That was very questionable on the Dana White Contender Series, and he was struggling in that fight, which is weird to see. His wrestling was not very good offensively. It was okay, but it wasn't the greatest. Defensively, he's rocking a 40% takedown defense. That's not a good look. His jiu-jitsu is okay. It's not good. It's not bad. But he gets pretty sloppy, to be honest with you. He also has a little bit of a cardio issue and a little bit of a chin issue. He gets dropped all the time. He got knocked out cold by Matt Favola. He got dropped like 4 times against Natan Levy, and he slows down in all of his fights. So he is the gas bag in this fight. He just has some power. He's a violent gas bag. He is the gas bag. On the flip side, Evan Elder has really good cardio, to be honest with you. His debut, he took a fight against Preston Parsons up a weight class, wrestled the entire time, and didn't really gas out. He has 2 career losses, and they're not bad. He has one, again, up a weight class on a week's notice, fighting a decent guy. And he got decisioned. And then his last fight was a 50-50 fight. I have no idea who was winning that fight. But then the doctor stopped the fight because of a cut he had. So yes, it's a loss. It technically looks like a KO loss, but it was just a cut was too deep. Like, that's not really on him. He has pretty good striking. He has a great camp with Kill Cliff FC he's training with Gilbert Burns, and Michael Chandler, like Robbie Lawler. He's training with all these guys on a daily basis. He's a little hittable, which I'm not a fan of, but he's only 26, so he's at the age where he's going to continually get better. It says that he has a 28% takedown defense, but that's really skewed from the Preston Parsons fight. Again, the one up a weight class on a week's notice. Nazim fights with the same camp as crazy wrestlers like Aljo and Marab, and he struggled to get Elder down. Elder was showing good takedown defense in that fight. So again, he has good cardio, he has good striking, he's a little hittable, but his jiu-jitsu is okay. He's at a good camp. Everything about this kid is screaming up and pointing upwards. He's definitely the one they want to get the win. He's minus 300 for a reason. The pick is going to be Evan Elder. The bet's going to be Evan Elder, and it's one of my better. He's one of my favorite fights of the card. I think he should get the job done. On the flip side, I don't know. I'm sorry. On the next matchup, I don't understand why this is placed here. I'm assuming this is going to change, but for some reason, right now it's listed as Jack Della on the undercard. Jack Della Maddalena minus 625 going up against Bazil Hafez at plus 440. We don't have an over under yet. With Bazil taking this fight on short notice. Let's just go ahead and start with him because I could only see so much for him. He's a grappler, man. He wants to go out there. He wants to wrestle. He wants to grapple. He has pretty good jujitsu. He fought over at CFFC, which is a camp, or not a camp, which is a promotion I really, really like for fighters to come from when they're going into the UFC. We saw people like Jeremiah Wells, Pat Sabatini, Sean Brady. They all, the Dawkins brothers, they all came from CFFC. So that's a pretty good regional scene there. One of the best, in my opinion. But that's really all I have is that he's on short notice. He's a good wrestler. He's a good grappler. His striking, didn't really see any. We saw him go out there and try to get the takedown right away. I don't know if he can strike. I mean, he looks physically imposing, but so did Vale last week, and he went out there and got KO'd by Bo in 30 seconds. So I don't know, man. I'm looking at his record. He doesn't really have any great wins. His best win is probably Evan Cuts. Anthony Ivy is a UFC veteran, but he won a split over Ivy, and Ivy wasn't very good in the UFC. So that's a little concerning. I don't know. All the rest of his wins, the guys were 0-0. Or sorry, we're 4-4, 3-4, 6-3. He lost to a 0-0 guy in his seventh career fight, so that's concerning. I don't know, man. I think he's a little overrated. I think he's a good hammer and a bad nail. On the flip side, Jack Della is an absolute tank. He has really, really good striking, really high volume. He's Australian, so that's a plus. He has good cardio. His takedown defense is the problem. His takedown defense is okay, but you can take him down. We saw Angelus take him down. We saw Ramazan Ameev take him down. We've seen people take this guy down. He has a great get-up game. If you take him down, he's popping right back up. And his jiu-jitsu is fine. He's on a huge winning streak. He lost his first two career fights, decided I never want to do that again, and hasn't lost since. He's had good competition. He's fought well. He's got good wins. Randy Brown is a good win. Danny Roberts is okay. Ameev is a good win. So is Angelus. That's a tough contender series fight. And he won it in a fabulous fight. I loved every second of it. So his cardio checks out. He's very good. There's really nothing wrong with Jack. This is a setup fight. Bazil's taking it on short notice. They just want Jack to fight soon so that they can get him a quick win and then send him over, get him a quick highlight, send them over to Australia for that event in September. That's all they want to do. So if Basile won, they'd be very, very upset, not really know what to do with Jack. But they plan on Jack going out there and getting the quick and easy finish. So the pick is going to be Jack. The bet would be Jack inside the distance, but it's still going to be juiced. It's going to be a little rough to try to bet this. All right. Next fight of the night is another one I'm fairly confident in. And I don't know why, but I just have my eyes are telling me that this is going to be an easy fight for, Melquizael Costa at minus 205 going up against Austin Lingo at plus 175. Over 2.5 is minus 125. Under 2.5 at minus 105. Let's just start with Costa. I mean, this is a guy coming in off of a loss. Like, is he your general lock you want? No. But he comes out of the shoot the box camp. He's only 26 years old, and he's getting better and better each time he fights. I've watched a lot of his fights, and every time we see improvement after improvement. Even in the loss of Thiago Moises, he took that fight on short notice. And Moises is a ranked competitor, and he went out there and he gave him hell for the first round. Then he got taken down and things got a little rough. But again, that's to be expected fighting a ranked guy on a week's notice. Like that's gonna happen to you. On the flip side, again, he's gonna have a 3-inch reach advantage here, which is nice. His jiu-jitsu is not terrible. It's actually not that bad. His takedown defense, again, he got taken down by Moises and finished, but he looked very good in the first round with his takedown defense. I wish I saw a little more volume coming out of him. He throws a lot of like spinning attacks, but he throws everything to take your head off. He can get hit a little while throwing some craziness too, but he seems durable enough. I mean, you're looking at his record here. He's been tapped a few times, but I've never seen him knocked out. So he's durable enough. He throws crazy shit because he thinks that he can take it coming back. I don't think he slows per se. He did in that fight against Moises, but again, it was a grapple heavy fight on 1 week's notice. So I'm not going to hold that against him. Otherwise, his cardio has seemed to check out. We see a a round 3 win here by knockout right before that. So when he gets a full camp, he's perfectly fine and a few decision wins. So at the end of the day, I like the kid a lot. He's 26, and I just love when I see fighters improve each time. So what are we going to see this time? I'm hoping an improved product, but the product I saw last time still probably beats Austin Lingo. Austin Lingo fights out of Fortis. I like that. That's a pretty good camp. This striking's pretty decent, especially coming from that camp as expected. But his wrestling's questionable, man. He got taken down by Yusuf Zalal like 6 times, and Yusuf Zalal is a Moroccan striker, so that's a little concerning. Luis Saldana took him down. That's concerning. Nate Landwehr took him down. That's concerning. None of these guys are good wrestlers, and they're all taking him down. He loves to move forward, but he's there to get hit. He's a little hittable, and he's actually very hittable, and that's not good going against a shoot the box power striker. Like that is not a good combination here. He throws pretty decent volume. He should have the volume advantage, which is nice, but the judges are judging damage, not volume. In all of these fights, they have stayed consistent for months now in regards to damage over everything. And to be honest with you, I think he's going out anyway. Um, he just throws a quick 1-2. Like he throws a left jab and then a right overhand over and over and over. He just throws the same combo over and over, and he can't help it. He gets hit once, and then he just keeps doing it over and over and over. And if anyone did any sort of fight tape, he's going to get his lights put out soon. So Nate was able to catch him and then choke him out. I think Costa might just put him out in general. So the pick is going to be Costa. The bet is going to be Costa. He's just the overall better fighter, and he's improving. Next fight of the night. We're back to our gas bag approach, baby. We have Estela Nunez. This is a plus 180 dog going up against Victoria Dudokova at minus 210. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 140. Under 2.5 plus 110. I have my eye on the under here because both of these fighters can get jobs done via finish. Let's start with Victoria. She's a newcomer. She's only 24 years old. She's super young. Her wrestling, not that good. Really, really not that good. But she's very strong and she will try to muscle you down by any means necessary. She has no striking whatsoever. Like she will literally she will run face forward and just wing her arms in the air just to kind of find where you are so that she can grab you and try to just tackle you down to the ground. Because her jiu-jitsu is not terrible. Her jiu-jitsu is okay. And again, I say tackle because her wrestling is not technical whatsoever. It's grab a body lock and just run forward and try to throw you down because look at the muscle on this girl. She's just going to try to bully you. That's all she tries to do. If you remember a few weeks ago, we saw Fernandez fight Bleda. This is Bleda 2.0. It's the exact same thing. Bleda can't wrestle. She has pretty good jiu-jitsu. She can't strike to save her life. She was undefeated coming into the UFC, and she was a favorite over a Brazilian. Or was she a favorite? It was close. Yeah, I think she might have been a favorite over Natalia Silva. Yeah, she was. This is 2.0. This is the exact same fight. Like it is no different. Estela Nunez, Brazilian. And you know what Estela Nunez is? Is a very good striker. Like she is the real deal on the feet. She has pretty decent power. She has a lot of volume going on. Like everything. She trains at ATT. Like she is at a good camp with good stand up. She is very, very good. Problem with her is she is the gas bag in this matchup. And she's one of the worst gas bags on the card. She has 7 minutes in her. After the 7 minute, as soon as it hit 7:01, she is done. Like she will look at Jalen Turner last week and say, "Hold my beer," because she has nothing left after that 7:01 period. She has 0-3 in the promotion. She won all three first rounds. She beat Yasmin Jaraguay, who was undefeated until last week. Let's go, Denise Gomes. She was killing Sam Hughes, almost finished her in the first. And Ariana Conolosi, I had Ariana as a lock that night. It scared the living shit out of me until we hit the second round, and Estella had nothing left to offer. She rocks a 53% takedown defense. Her takedown defense is not that bad. The problem is as soon as it hits the second round, it goes from 100% to zero. That's why it's stuck at 50, because in the first round, it's basically 100%. As soon as it hits the second round, she's got nothing left. I don't know what her deal is. Her jiu-jitsu is very questionable. Carnellosi should not be choking you out by any means. Angela Lee choked her out in her loss before that. So her jiu-jitsu is real shaky. I don't know, man. You have someone that cannot strike at all going against someone that cannot grapple at all. What you should do is take the person with the better cardio, but it's a 24-year-old making their debut, and we've literally seen this story. Natalia Silva versus Teresa Bleda is literally Estela Nunez versus Victoria Dudakova. So let's say history repeats itself and I have plus money on the Brazilian again. Give it to me, baby. The pick is going to be Nunez. The bet's going to be Nunez. And to be honest with you, I don't hate the under. I think the under is a good look at plus money. But you know who else is plus money? Estela Nunez, baby. Let's get it. All right, next fight of the night. Some a little bit more talent here. We have Tucker Lutz at plus 155 going up against Melsik Bagdasaryan at minus 180. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 is minus 130. Under 2.5 at plus 100. Let's start with Tucker Lutz because I don't know what to think of this guy. I think he's good, but there's something missing, and I can't put my fucking finger on it. I don't know what the deal is. He's gonna have a 2-inch reach advantage here, which is nice. He's gonna have good wrestling here. His striking's okay. It's not too bad. His jiu-jitsu's okay. It's not too bad. He could be a little chinny. We saw Daniel Pineda drop him a few times. We saw him dropped against Kevin Aguilar. Like this guy, he's there to get hit. Again, his striking, it's not like his striking's bad. It's just if you touch him, he goes down. And he has a loss in the past by KO. So I totally forgot about that. So I don't know, man. I've seen him in wins get dropped. I've seen him in losses get dropped. Very questionable chin. But he's the complete package. He kind of reminds me of like a Gavin Tucker. Uh who is it Gavin Tucker I'm thinking of? The one that got starched by got starched by Dan Ige from Canada. Is it Gavin Tucker? Because his name is Tucker Lutz. It's fucking with my head. But I want to say it's Gavin Tucker. Anyway, I don't know, man. He's good everywhere. There's just something missing where I don't want to bet him. He's a dog here, so it does make it a little better, and I am keeping an eye on it because he is fighting a one-dimensional fighter here. Melsik Bagdasaryan is good. He hits like an absolute truck on the feet. And we have the gun going against Top Gun, so there's only one gun that can stand here. Bagdasaryan hits a whole hell of a lot harder. He has the better striking, but he can slow down in his fights. He's the gas bag here. He has a 76% takedown defense, which is a pretty decent number. So I don't know if Tucker's going to be able to get him down to the ground. If Tucker can't take him down, it's Melsik all day. If Tucker can get him to the ground, Melsik's jiu-jitsu concerns me. It's not very good. He's a credentialed kickboxer. He kickboxed a ton prior to committing to MMA. That's why he's 31 and he only has 9 career fights because he was a career kickboxer to start. I don't know, man. He has high volume. I like everything about this guy. He's good. It's just he slows down in his fights. He's a gas bag, and he's fighting someone that is a decent wrestler. Is he going to slow down and Tucker going to be able to take him down? I can see it. Can I trust Tucker? No, he can go out there and get knocked out round one. I don't know what to do with this fight. All the experts are picking Melsik. I initially thought Tucker. I watched the fight tape, then I thought Melsik. I'm going back and forth. Stay the hell away. Uh, if anything, I guess you might be able to look at the under here, but the under is only plus 100. there's no value anywhere in this fight. This is another one. It's a sheer stay away. For the sake of the podcast, I'm gonna pick Melsick. I'm gonna stick with my gut. I'm gonna say Tucker in regards to a bet. It's dog or pass because I don't know what the fuck to do with this card. With this fight. It's too close to call. Give me the plus 155 dog. Sheer value pick. Speaking of value picks, we have Terrence McKinney plus 125. T-Rex, baby, going up against the aforementioned Nazim Sadnikov at minus 145. Over under set at 1.5. Over 1.5 being plus 140. Jesus. Under 1.5 minus 175. Let's be honest. We all know why the over 1.5 is plus money. It's because of T-Rex. T-Rex is probably the most exciting man in the UFC. He is so fucking fun to watch, win or lose. He will put on a show. He's gonna have a 4.5-inch reach advantage here. That's huge. He has really good wrestling. People see how many knockouts he has, and they forget he's a grappler. He has really good jujitsu. He has really, really good wrestling. The thing is, he just packs a ton of power. So he'll throw a quick 1-2 out there to get your attention and accidentally put you out because he hits like an absolute truck. The problem is, he's the gas bag in this matchup. He's also a little chinny. I mean, he got knocked out by Sean Woodson. He got knocked out by Drew Dober. He got knocked out by Israel Bonfim. He got choked out by Derek Minner. Let's see. Tyrone, doctor stoppage. So all of his losses are by finish. He's never seen the judges' scorecards because he's an absolute wild man out there. Now, don't get me wrong. His last fight went to the second round because he was trying to be conservative. He knows he's a gas bag. He's fully aware of this. If you ask him, he'll tell you his cardio is bad. So he tried to kind of control himself in his last fight. What did that do? Got him knocked out. Still, in the second, under 1.5, still hit while he was being conservative. So if you try to be conservative, I think about Alonzo Metafield. Alonzo Metafield went out there, completely blew his load against Devin Clark. The very next fight, he tried to fight conservative, and he ended up getting knocked out by old man OSP. And then he has not fought conservative since. I think this is going to be the same thing as McKinney. He tried to fight conservative in his last fight. Didn't work. Go back to your roots. Go out there. Go absolutely ape shit. And see what happens. On the flip side, he has a willing competitor who's willing to go ape shit with him in Nazim Sadnikov. Again, he trains with Marab. He trains with Matt Frivola. He trains with who Terrence McKinney knocked out in his debut. He trains with the champ, Aljo Sterling. Like, he's at a very good camp at the Serra Longo camp. He's a good wrestler, but he's predominantly a striker. He has really good striking. Here's the catch. He has really good cardio. So that's key against McKinney. He also throws a ton of volume. He beat Evan Elder in that fight earlier when I said Evan, one of his losses were because he had a cut. Nazim. It was a Nazim fight. Nazim cracked him. I mean, it sucks for Evan Elder, but Nazim did punch him in the face to cause the cut. He has a sick-ass name with the Black Wolf. That's a sick nickname. The only other wolf I can think of right now, only two, are Jamie Pickett, Night Wolf, ass. And then you have fucking Hamzat goes as a wolf as well. So if you're a wolf, you're good or you're really bad. Which one is Nazim? I would lean good. He has a good get-up game because you can take him down. The thing with him is I've seen him crack before too. So I've seen him hurt. I just haven't seen him go out yet. I've seen him taken down, but I haven't seen him held down. So can McKinney hit him and put him away? Absolutely. Can McKinney take him down and hold him down? I don't know. And if he tries that approach, that's going to gas him out. Then Nazim's going to take over. So if I'm McKinney, I'm going out there using that 4.5 reach advantage and just striking. And you know what? To be honest with you, McKinney's the dog. McKinney has more ways to win. He could and also McKinney's go-to submission is a rear naked choke. The one loss Nazim has in his career is the very first fight of his career, and he got rear naked choke. So McKinney has more ways to win. I'm gonna go ahead and pick McKinney. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and pick Sadnikov. I'm gonna pick the guy with the cardio who can also put McKinney out. But the bet is either going to be McKinney or the under 1.5. I don't see this thing going long. Minus 175, not terrible odds. You want to chase dog money? Go McKinney. If you want to get a win, I would definitely at good price range. I would say the under 1.5. If you want guaranteed money, fight doesn't go the distance. It's probably going to be ridiculous, probably like minus 400, maybe even under minus 2.5. Take a look there. Maybe it's like minus 300 and you parlay it, but minus 175 for under 1.5. Not terrible there. All right. Next fight of the night also is lined at a minus 1.5. We have Otman Azatar at minus 105, going up against Francisco Prado at minus 115. Over under set at 1.5. Over 1.5 plus 115. Under 1.5 also expected at minus 145. Let's start with the Potato Prince Azatar, as they said in the Die Hard MMA podcast. I thought Clint's line was absolutely appropriate, absolutely hilarious. He's the Potato Prince because he is the one that got caught in COVID with his cornermen climbing up, just scaling up the side of the COVID hotel to give him a bag of potatoes. We know they weren't fucking potatoes. We know that they were roids. Like, everyone is fully cognizant that there were steroids in that bag. The guy is like a legitimate prince in Morocco or something like that. He fights for fun. He's 33 years old. He's rich as shit, has all the money in the world, has fought absolute cans. Why? Because he's a prince and they're just going out there to get slaughtered, literally. UFC did him a favor by giving him two of the worst people on the roster. They gave him Timu, who was absolutely terrible. He went out there and finished him in round one. Then they gave him Kama Worthy, who might be the chinniest fighter the UFC has ever seen. Went out there and finished him in round one. Like, they gave him all they could. And then he had the potato scandal during COVID. And the UFC said, you know what, Prince? We don't need your shit. We know you have a ton of power. Your cardio is a little questionable. You like the counter. We'll give you a chance, but we're not giving you a cupcake matchup. So they gave him Matt the Steamroller Favola. What does Matt do? He goes out there and he scraps like crazy. So if you want to go out there and counter and put him out, because Favola's chin's a little questionable too, good luck. Go ahead, Otman. But it's not going to be a walkthrough because he can clip you too. And what did Favola do? Put him out in 2 minutes. Otman was not ready. If he was real, this was a test for the UFC to see if he was real or not. He's not. He ain't. He ain't real. And the other thing is, coming off of the potato scandal, I guarantee you he was clean. Was he clean these other 13 wins? I don't know. We know he was clean one fight and he got knocked out in 2 minutes. So it's a little questionable now. Is he going to be clean again? Yeah, they're going to be watching him like a hawk. So if he's clean again, his chin is very questionable. If you give him anyone that can crack, he's in some serious trouble. And he's fighting someone that can crack. He's fighting Francisco Prado. 11-1, made his debut against Jamie Mullarkey, which is just a tough ask for anyone. But he took it on short notice against Jamie Mullarkey, and he's 21 years old. Like, he is a young hit. The problem I have with him is his picture. Look at it. He's from that fucking samurai promotion where they're fighting out of the high school. It's questionable. The people he were fighting were not good whatsoever. 0-0, 4-6, 4-8, 2-1, 4-13, 0-0, 0-0. Like, these aren't really real fighters. So what do your eyes see compared to what the stats say? The eyes say he's good, man. He's gonna have a 5-inch reach advantage here. He likes to mix in wrestling. He's a pretty decent single and double leg. He was getting like one a fight, and he even took like 3 shots on Jamie Mullarkey and got in pretty deep. But Mullarkey's a pretty decent wrestler and was able to shrug it off after a while. His striking's not bad. It's not great, but he hits very, very hard. His takedown defense, now that part's questionable, but I don't know if Azatar is going to be doing too much wrestling. My thing with Azatar is that he likes to counter. My thing with Prado is that he likes to counter. This could be a boring fight because neither one of them like to go first. But I did see in the Frivola fight, Azatar got willing once to go first. He got clipped and he got put away. I've seen him do it, and he might try. Prado does some crazy spinning shit as well if nothing is happening, and at least, you know, it'll get some sort of reaction from the judges in case it's a snooze fest as you have 2 counter strikers going after it. At the end of the day, it's the powerful prince, the powerful potato prince, or the 21-year-old kid gonna win? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Do I like the under the most? Probably. But for the sake of the argument and the sake of the podcast, I'll pick the 21-year-old kid. He's probably just improving. He can't get any worse. He's got to be getting better. As Atari's 33, he's a finished product, and he's a proven fraud. So give me the kid that has maybe has potential. So the pick is going to be Prado. The bet, honestly, is going to be the under or Prado. Both of them are good lines. Let's just say the under. Um, they might stare at each other because they're both counter strikers. Yeah, let's still do under. Under 1.5 minus 145 is the way I'd play it. Next fight of the night, we have the Stats and Stacks main event. Big Norm making her triumphant return at minus 150, going up against bitch ass Chelsea Chandler at plus 130. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 240. Under 2.5 plus 195. Let's start with the female, one of the female goats in Big Norm Dumont. Norma Dumont, outside of being an absolute dime, is good striking. Jiu-jitsu sneaky good, man. I think she's only a I don't know if she's a purple or a brown belt. She's not a black belt. I think she's a brown belt. But her jiu-jitsu is actually very, very good. Her wrestling is weird. It shows a 72% takedown defense because Macy Chazon took her down like 6 times. But then we also saw Felicia Spencer, who's a pretty good wrestler, not be able to take her down at all. We saw Aspen Ladd, who likes to wrestle a lot, not be able to take her down at all. So I'm very confused by it. I don't know if she's a good wrestler or not, but she's good enough. She's pretty decent, I should say. Her power is sneaky good. She cracks, man. She hits hard. We saw her crack Danielle Wolf. We saw her crack Aspen Ladd. We saw her who else did she drop? Macy Chazon. Like, she dropped a lot of girls. She drops you basically in every single one of her fights outside the Megan Anderson fight where she got dropped. She also got dropped in the Carol Hosa fight, which is not a good look. So she cracks, but she might have a little bit of a chin issue. And she can also slow down a little bit in fights, but it's a 3-rounder, so she'll be fine. She'll be fine. She likes to counter predominantly, though. She's another one that does not like to go first. If you swing, she likes to slip and crack you. And that's kind of where a lot of her power comes from, is just precision timing. Kind of like Connor. It's not like Connor is some sort of jack guy that goes out there and just puts her lights out. It's all about precision. If you hit anyone in the right spot at the right time, you don't need a ton of force. And that's kind of how Norma is, man. She slips and rips, baby. She's good. I make jokes about her because her picture is cool in here and she has the biggest ass in women's MMA. But she's actually a good fighter. I'll be honest with you. She doesn't really have a lot of cons aside of her fucking fight IQ. Her fight IQ is bad. Her chin is questionable. Her fight IQ is bad. It is atrocious. She's someone who shouldn't be trusted, but she keeps finding a way to win, and she's my girl, so I'm gonna keep betting her. But she's someone that did not take down Daniel Wolf. I mean, she took her down twice. But she stood with her for the first 2 rounds to kind of prove a point. She could have taken her down and tapped her out easily, but instead she went to a stand-up war with a Golden Glove boxer. That was not the greatest fight IQ. Same with Carol Hosa. She has a notoriously bad takedown defense. Didn't take her down at all. She wanted to stand and bang with the high volume striker. That was a little concerning. She doesn't it's Ashley Evans Smith. She didn't really take down. She stood and banged with Ashley Evans Smith. Who again earlier we said has a 67% takedown defense. So yeah, I don't know why she's not grappling when she has a clear grappling edge, but hey, it is what it is. She gets the job done. We support Big Norm. On the flip side, we got Chelsea Chandler, who is someone that I wanted to instant fade the moment I saw her beat Storley Orenko. Chelsea Chandler is one of these people that they're from California. I believe she's from Stockton. So she idolizes the Diaz brothers and she tries to emulate them, and it seems fake. It just doesn't feel genuine. Like when the Diaz bros go out there and they talk trash and talk about how tough they are, it's them. It's not being prompted. Chelsea Chandler, it sounds like she's putting on a show. It just drives me absolutely crazy. She gets under my skin. Her jiu-jitsu is all right. She trains at the Diaz camp, actually. So her jiu-jitsu is probably better than we see. But her wrestling's not really that great, to be honest with you. her striking's not really that good either. She can't really strike. She can't really wrestle. She's pretty decent jiu-jitsu. The thing with Chelsea Chandler is that she's strong as shit. She's very, very, very strong. So it doesn't have to have doesn't have to be technical striking. When if she hits you, she can put your lights out. Which I don't like her going against Big Norm in that sense, because again, Big Norm's a little chinny and will do some weird shit in there. Yeah, it's really just her forward pressure and her power. That's all she has. She likes to stand and bang, and she likes to put you out. She's a female finisher, which isn't normal. We saw her get a knockout in the second round. Rear naked choke here. Got her jiu-jitsu is pretty decent. Ground and pound finish in her UFC debut. And she just muscled Stoliarenko. No, I'll be honest with you. Stoliarenko is a career 35 pounder. Chelsea is a real 145 pounder. There's only a few girls on the roster that are truly featherweights. She's one. I don't think she can make 135. Here's the thing. Another girl that can't really make 135, Big Norm. She's tried multiple times, misses weight every fucking time. But her last fight was at featherweight. She looked great. Her last fight before that at featherweight, she looked great. She made weight. She fought well. Her cardio held up. She's actually a featherweight. If her ass wasn't so big, she'd be able to make bantamweight. But Big Norm was blessed. Not going to happen. Just stay at featherweight. She's getting wins. And for the love of God, I need her to beat fake Chelsea Chandler this week. So the pick is going to be Big Norm. The bet's going to be Big Norm. I'm not turning my back on my girl. All right. And I said that last week against Denise Gomes, about Denise Gomes, and it got me a plus 800. So let's stick with it, baby. And we're already to the co-main of the evening. We have Albert Duraev at plus 135 going up against Jun Young Park at minus 155. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 155. Under 2.5 at plus 125. Let's start with Park because he is this week's generalist. He has okay jiu-jitsu. He has okay striking. He has okay wrestling. Like nothing is bad, but nothing blows you away. His durability, I would say, is okay. He was the Iron Turtle. We used to think he could not be knocked out until Gregory and Rodriguez did so just 2 fights ago. Oh, sorry. 4 fights ago. Jesus Christ. Just a few fights ago. He fought a lot last year, huh? He fought twice in 2022 and twice in 2023. Okay. Okay. At the end of the day, his wins are questionable. If you really, really look at it, his UFC wins, this Talulian, not long for the UFC. Joseph Holmes, already cut from the UFC. Eric Anders, I love Eric Anders. It shows a split win here. I thought Eric Anders won that fight, and I don't know if Eric Anders is that good. He's okay. It's a decent win, but I think the judges awarded him that fight. A win over against Stefan Njakwi, already cut from the UFC, and John Phillips, already cut from the UFC. A win against Marc Andre, I'll give you. That's decent. But then they also gave him Fluffy, and he got tapped out real quick. So Marc Andre is the best win he has in the UFC. The rest of the way, he's fought a whole bunch of people that have been cut. Literally, no one else he's beaten is not cut outside of Eric Anders, and I thought he lost that fight. So he's decent. 70% takedown defense is going to loom large here. It's just when I watched his last fight, or when I watched the fight against Eric Anders got in deep on a double a lot. And Park instantly jumped guillotine. He didn't like automatically pull guard and go into it, but he put his arm over his neck and was just threatening the choke as his line of defense. And Eric Anders, just coming off getting choked up by Andre Muniz, wanted no part of that. Duraev, I don't think is going to be scared of that. Duraev is a pretty decent grappler himself, but he's predominantly a wrestler. And if he gets in deep on that double, he can just switch to a single. Like Eric Anders isn't going to chain grapple you. Albert Duraev will. He's a pretty good wrestler. He's 34 years old, so this is the finished product. It's not that good, to be honest with you. He's a little chinny himself. His striking's okay, but it's very low volume. He loves to pressure forward, and I have seen Park backed up before, so that's a good optic for the judges. Again, but his striking's not that good. It's just really his pressure. He'll have a 2-inch reach advantage here, which will help with that. It's just he's kind of a bad Russian. Like he tries to fight like the Hamzats and the Habibs. He's just not as good at it. Like his wrestling's okay. The win against TD was a little questionable. I understand it. I'll take it. But it was kind of weird. His loss against Buckley was not a good look. He did not take that seriously. His win against Roman Kopylov, he gassed. In this fight, Duraev, he's the gas bag. He's the underdog, which is nice. It's not like you have to trust the gas bag on favorite odds. He's the gas bag. So I don't know, man. If he goes out there and he just wrestles the entire time against Eric Anders styles, I think he gets the win, and I think he gets it kind of easy. Will he do that? Probably not. He doesn't wrestle enough. I don't like going back and watching it. He starts to wrestle when he's losing, and otherwise he's only shooting like one takedown per round. His striking is not good enough to try to strike for prolonged periods of time. You need to wrestle. I don't know if it's his cardio. Again, we've seen him slow before. Is his cardio that bad to where if he continually wrestles, he knows he's going to gas? He's 34. Maybe. Maybe that's why he strikes and then just shoots one takedown per round. The good news is he usually gets the takedown. So let's just hope he gets it. And it's enough optics with him pressuring forward. If he did not pressure forward and it looked good to the judges, him being the one going forward, I would say complete pass. But because he's an underdog, because he pressures when he's on the feet, and because he's the better wrestler, and if he gets a takedown, he can steal the round, give me the plus money. So the pick is going to be Albert Duraev. The bet's going to be Albert Duraev. And that takes us to the main event. If for some strange reason you're weird and you have not hit that like or subscribe button, do it now, please. It helps a lot. Also, give a follow over on Twitter, over on Instagram, over on TikTok, wherever there's social media. There's a Stacks of Stacks podcast, and we're giving you picks and winners, baby. Especially this one in the main event. We have Holly Holm, Preacher's daughter, minus 150, going up against Myra Bueno Silva at plus 130. Over 4.5 is minus 195. Under 4.5 plus 160. Let's start with Myra Bueno Silva because I think she's an absolute fraud. She is someone that I like. She is someone that I have locked in the past, but she is a subject of. She's a product of schedule. Like it's all about matchups for her. She has world-class jiu-jitsu. This girl is an absolute tank on the ground. We saw her tap out Jillian Roberts, which is not easy. We saw her knee bar Lita Landsberger in the last fight. We've seen her get we saw her tap out Mara Borella. Like she has a ton of submissions on her record. Ninja choke. She's really good in arm bars. Like she's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt and a real one. Like she is like Mackenzie Dern level good on the ground. Maybe that's a little far, but she's a step below. Like she's very, very, very good on the ground. Her striking, not bad. It's okay. It's not terrible, to be honest with you. Not a lot of power, but she'll throw some stuff out there. It's just she's very plotting. There's the shoot to box that goes out there, pressures forward, as a little square footed, but throws like wild spinning stuff as well to kind of catch you off guard. She doesn't have any spinning stuff. She just marches forward, very flat footed, very slow plotting, and it's hittable. She gets hit a shit ton. We saw her against Manon Farrell just absolutely beat the shit out of her. And that's the thing. That's at 125. She's decided that she's going to move up to 135, and she has been undefeated at 135. But again, you got to look at the girl she's beating. Yanan Wu, cut from the UFC, not that good. She beat her at 135. Stephanie Egger is okay. Stephanie Egger's okay. She got that Phantom armbar. That was a weird one where they said she tapped, but she didn't tap, and it was just confusing. That's the one where I actually had a bet on her, and I got the submission, and I was really happy. But did she actually tap? We might have gotten away with one there. And then Lena Landsberg is like a 45-year-old mom fighting. She's older. She's not very good, and she gave her a go, man. The 40-year-old gave Myra a go. It's just she's getting another 40-year-old. That's my problem. She's a 125 pounder that has gone up to 135, fought some of the lowest of the low of 135, got W's, thinks she's good, and now she's fighting the preacher's daughter. On paper, Holly should beat the absolute shit out of her. Holly's a very, very, very good striker. Her wrestling's not bad. I think she's the better wrestler. Myra Bueno Silva is a phenomenal jiu-jitsu practitioner, but she can't wrestle to save her life. Holly Holm can wrestle. Should Holly Holm take her down? Fuck no. Do not go down to the ground with Myra. For the love of God, Holly, do not go down there. Because if you stay on the feet and you strike, you should probably get this done. Holly's jiu-jitsu is questionable. We saw her almost choked out by Ketlin Vieira. I thought she won that fight. I thought that was a screw job. But the 1 second Ketlin had her back, it was very, very, very risky business. We also saw her get tapped out by Misha Tate for the title, so that's not a good look. Um, she's 41 though. That's the biggest thing. She's a weird 41. Like the Die Hard MMA podcast says, you don't bet on 40-year-olds unless you have a damn good reason. Damn good reason is that she has been old her entire UFC career, and she's been nothing but be successful. She's a former champ. She's fought 5 rounds before, which Myra has not. And Holly Holm is just a Yoel Romero specimen. She's 41, but she looks like she's 30. Like she physically, like physique wise, her birth certificate says 41, her body says 31. So I don't know what's going on there. What supplements her and Yoel are taking. I need them. She's gonna have a 3-inch reach advantage here. And she has a 78% takedown defense, which is nice because Myra to win this fight, at some point, this has to hit the ground or she has to get her back at some point, somehow. Myra wins his fight by submission. I don't think she wins any other way. Holly Holm also does a ton of cage work. Like she will put you up against that cage and dirty box the living hell out of you as of late. She's good at range. She's a credentialed kickboxer. But in MMA, she's been bullying. She's jacked. She's huge. She's strong. And if she decides to do clinch work against Myra's a former 125 pounder. She can push her up against the cage. It will be the most boring fight you've ever seen, unless you have money on it and Holly wins you the money. So she also has that approach. So she can beat her at range. She can bully her up against the cage. As long as she does not go down with her, just bully her against the cage. Holly should win this fight easy. She generally has good game plans. She is the female Glover Teixeira. She is about to win a title at 40. Why? Because Amanda Nunes is gone. She is gone. And when you look at the top of the weight class there, I know there's rumors of Blanchfield and there's rumors of Ronda coming back. Oh my God. If Ronda comes back, do you give her Holly Holm with a win here and do the rematch from the one of the biggest upsets in history? You could. You very well could. Do you give Ronda Pena? Probably, because I think Ronda could probably beat Pena. Pena's very overrated. But you're setting up a storyline if Holly wins this. You could definitely do Ronda and Holly if Holly wins this fight. And the UFC is all about stories and they're all about making money. So if UFC wants anyone to win this fight, it's Holly Holm. So if it goes to decision, probably Holly Holm. If it's knockout, it's probably Holly Holm. If it's a mission because I hit the ground, it's definitely Myra. So the pick is going to be Holly. The bet's going to be Holly. And let's get paid, baby. And that's UFC Vegas 77, Holm versus Silva. Gas bags, baby. What gas bag are we going to trust? Which gas bag are we going to fade? Which gas bags are going to get us paid, baby? Let's get it.